if you've been looking to follow along and actually trade or invest in the same companies that members of Congress are investing in, well, we finally have a couple of ETFs that you can actually buy or follow to get access to the same companies that members of Congress are trading, investing in as well. So this is looking at a site called Unusual Whales. We'll actually put a link down below if you want to check out Unusual Whales. They offer a lot more when it comes to options, unusual options activity, and a lot more where that came from. Really cool site, actually, if you guys are familiar with the options market. But what they've actually gone ahead and done is they have taken the trades that members of Congress are actively trading in and out of, and they've made them into two ETFs. Okay, they have a cruise ETF, KRUZ, and an NANC ETF. Okay, this essentially, the cruise ETF stands for the Republican Trading ETF, and the NANC, or the NANC, the NANC, stands for the Democratic Trading ETF. So to simplify things, members of Congress have to reveal their trades publicly by a certain deadline after they make these trades. And there's been a lot of push as of late for members of Congress to either not be allowed to trade on insider information or just to trade stocks in general, individual companies, because they have information about bills, laws, all these different things that have to get worked through Congress to potentially get passed or not. They have the information, or they have the inside knowledge as to what will get passed, what won't get passed, and could potentially act upon that information saying, hey, there's going to be some, major chip bill being passed. I may as well go invest in a bunch of chip companies or this, that, and the other thing, right? So that said, in terms of how members of Congress trade, Unusual Whales has a politics section, which we'll actually have a specific video on using this section in a future video, or actually linked up on the channel here if you want to check it out. But in a nutshell, this is going to be tracking all of Congress members' trades, Democrats and Republicans, and they're going to be summarizing that and putting them into two different ETFs, okay? So if we take a look in terms of the breakdown of these different ETFs, they have some links here on the site. Let's pull these up and let's start looking into the NANC ETF, okay? This ETF will invest in equity securities purchased or sold by Democratic members of Congress and their spouses. So for example, Nancy Pelosi, technically she has said she does not actually trade, but her husband does. And so they'll go ahead and use her husband's trades for this example, or for this ETF to add to the active management of the ETF. Okay. Now, again, members have to report their trades, but they can be delayed by a couple of days or a couple of weeks. And so if that's the case, Unusual Whales doesn't actually get the information fast enough to get the same price points that these members of Congress might get. So keep that in mind, okay? Because it's not going to necessarily be a perfect one-to-one in terms of exactly where they entered, you're getting the entry. They could have entered, stock could have moved a huge way up or down, and then now it's being reported, and then Unusual Whales can come out and, hey, let's go buy this stock, or let's go, put our money into this stock and let's get a piece. But it may not be the same price, and so your actual returns are not going to be the exact same as these members of Congress. But the general idea is to copy them. Okay, so the fund will also not invest in any congressperson who is not registered as a member of the Democratic Party, for example, or the Republican Party, for example, here at the NANC ETF or the NANC ETF. So what we can take a look at here is there's an expense ratio of 0.75. There really has not been a ton of price action or data because it's brand new. These are brand new. So for example, on the NANC ETF, what's the top 10 holdings? Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Apple, Salesforce, NVIDIA, Walt Disney, CrowdStrike, Philip Morris, and United Parcel Service. Those, UPS, those are the top 10 holdings and their weights on the left-hand side of the NANC ETF, okay? Now let's jump over and check out the cruise ETF and see if we have substantial differences. Same ideas about how this all works. In terms of net assets, they're about the same, around $625,000 as of recording of this video, or as of 2/8/2023. if we scroll down to the bottom, what are the top 10 holdings? We have MMP, ticker symbol MMP. We have MSFT, Microsoft. We have ET. We have Cash as 1.78%. The Dow, Philip Morris, which is also another one that's on there as well in terms of the Democratic ETF. Shell, UTHR, LVS, and ORCC. So a different spread, and actually a lower. No one has a huge weight here. The highest weight is actually Magellan Midstream Partners at a 3.48% weight. And it tells you the amount of shares are held, etc., and the value of the position size. So pretty interesting to look at. And if you want to take a peek at how these are looking on our charts over, let's say, at like a trading view, which we'll leave a link down below if you want to check out trading view and use this as the literal best charting platform you're going to find. There's no one, hands down, no one can come close, and it is the best in the business. Let's take a look at how this has been. It's only been around for a couple of days, but it's actually been trading, actually to the downside as the markets, when this began trading, the markets actually traded a little bit lower overall. The overall S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow have traded a bit lower over the past day or so. So there's Cruise, and then NANC. Here is Nance, the Democratic ETF. So again, don't get these confused with like a Ted Cruz and like a Nancy Pelosi. It's not following those specific members of Congress. It's actually following the party in general. And so it's an actively managed ETF, and you should be aware of that they can be moving in and out of tickers or in and out of positions a lot because there could be a lot of insider trading. So that's in a nutshell what you are looking at with the ways now to follow along with the insider activity or the trading of members of Congress. If you wanted to get a feel for this stuff, check out the fact sheets, check out more information on these on the Unusual Whales website, which again, we will leave a link in the video description box to the Unusual Whales website. It's now loading up the fact sheet right here, but we pretty much covered in a nutshell what you're watching or what to be watching for as of late. Make sure you are subscribed here to the channel, and we'll see you guys in a future video. Hit that thumbs up button. Peace out.